Okay, comic 97, and good. This comic is all about the third, and the three in general. Oh, good. I'm glad I didn't talk about that too much. The third entity of the abstraction's mind was now free. The quiet, peaceful part of his personality formed into a quiet young man who named himself Kenny. Individual elements of the abstraction's mind were now physical beings: the evil, the insanity, and the calm, holding it all together. The birth of Kenny. You're a nutcase. Kenny came from a wrestler's brain? I don't even know why I talked to you. You don't like that story? Fine. Kenny was a wooden boy who made a wish to be real. So Jeff, of course, just trying to go about the fact that he's just making it all up. Um, and then tries to sell her on Pinocchio. So apparently Jeff might be making all this up based on things that he's seen before. And she didn't like the story that he apparently read in an online wrestling forum once, because in the wrestling forum I brought it about that there were three personalities. There was the evil and the insanity and the calm. So the insanity was the wrestler who had almost always been in charge, but inside of the insanity is this, well, it was basically my temper, because it did change. So the more I thought about that, the more I realized that as well as my temper and my wackiness, I also have a very calm personality. So this calm personality, when it came out, it was a very, very young man, as sort of like me as a 16-year-old. And I chose to call him Kenny in the Wrestling Federation because it was supposed to be me as a young kid. It I don't know if I ever go into all of this for the rest of the comic. This might be the end of Jeff telling Julie the backstory, but this is his story of where Kenny came from. Because in my mind, it's kind of where Kenny came from, or kind of who I could have based it on. So I never fully decided as to whether that was what I was going to do. Because what happened then, after this plot, if I remember correctly, the evil was captured, and well, I forget what they did with the evil, but I think it just got away. The evil tried to destroy lots of other things, and yet the abstraction kept going. But he kept Kenny around. Kenny slowly figured out that not only was he a calm aspect of a personality, but he was so calm, in fact, he was the personality of the person who... Kenny basically broke the fourth wall because Kenny was the personality behind. He was the calm personality outside of the Wrestling Federation. He was the one writing it all. Kenny became aware that he was only in a story being written by me. Okay? So he started realizing what was going on and deciding that it was being written by a person at a typewriter, and the only reason he existed was out of someone's imagination, even though he was technically me. I'm having a hard time describing this because I just thought it was kind of trippy that I sort of enjoyed doing that. So towards the end of my time in this federation, because I was kind of losing interest and I wasn't really doing much on it anymore, and I was slowly on my way out. So what I eventually did was, at the very end of it, Kenny comes to a full realization that they're all just imaginary. And once he does that, all of my characters, all of the wrestlers that have been in it, they all realize that as well, and everyone just spontaneously disappears one night during a wrestling match. And it's this big... Anyway, it was my bow out. It was my way of getting out. So that's when everyone disappeared. And all these characters disappeared for... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... Yeah, about 5 to 10 years before I started writing this comic. And then I thought, hey, that'd be kind of a funny backstory because it's the same name. Did I do that on purpose? Probably not. Is it just kind of coincidence? Sure. Is it possible that Jeff's just making this story up and it just happens to be the story that I had from before? Yes, because I think Julie then goes and asks for a different... And there's another possible backstory later, but that'll be in the next one. That'll be in comic 98, which we'll do tomorrow. All right, I've prattled on long enough, so tomorrow.